Good morning. Welcome. Hello. Hope you guys are doing well this morning. I've had a good couple days. So I'm still just trying to, as everyone gets in, I'm still trying to figure out that everyone is here and who's not here and stuff. If you guys can start trying to do that at least 10 minutes before, it just would help me a lot, so that I don't have to do it during class time and waste your time trying to look up and look. I have to look at two different screens trying to figure that out. So if you guys could do that, that would be fantastic. So do I see Jocelyn yet? No Jocelyn yet. Cassandra M, no. Caitlin P is here. There, is she on live? Yeah, she is. Good. And Belle, I think I saw there. And is Belle up there? Yes, good. Okay, and do I have an Alex yet? No Alex in either spots. Okay, so I think I'm good. I just am missing a couple people, but hopefully they show up at a later date. Oh, no, Emily's here. Sorry, is Emily there too? Emily. Oh, what? Sorry. Oh, okay, thanks, Emily. Sorry, you totally confused me there. All right, so you put in a different name there. So yeah, see if you can always try to make sure it matches so it doesn't make my life so hard. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we just got a couple of people missing, but that's all good. So welcome. Today is Wednesday, halfway through the week, which is fantastic. So yeah, we are getting there, which is really good. Okay. All right. So, remember last day I gave you guys I talked about how Wednesday is hump day and I said there's a commercial about it. I thought I needed you guys to be on the same page with me so you totally understood what I was talking about. So, in Blackboard, I am going to send you guys a link. It's a 30-second thing. Go off and watch that. All right, so most of you guys should have had a chance to check it over, which is good. Okay, so Kirsten, you need to go to the homeroom page and click on the live classroom to hear me. Okay, I think we're good. Because I can see she's there. Okay, sorry, just trying to get things figured out. All right. Oh, Slade is in there. Is Slade in here as well? Slade, you also need to be in the Blackboard as well, please. Okay, so can you pop over there too? So when you guys are doing this, and it's the same thing with Mrs. Ward, make sure you're in both of them, okay? Make sure that just in case we have to go to do something in Blackboard back and forth, make sure you're in there as well, okay? Okay, all right, so I just need Slade to get over there. And I think we're kind of, we're under control. All right, so let's have a look at what's happening the rest of this week here. So on Friday, field trip to rock climbing. So from 1 to 3, you guys meet there, you get to do some climbing, you'll be sore the next day. It's all good, it's all fun and games. So make sure if you guys are interested in that, sign up for that. I'm not sure what the numbers are at with that, but hopefully good numbers. They've been great field trips so far. So some of you guys I've seen on the last couple field trips and they've been really, really fun. So, all right. Angelina, math help is Thursdays, every Thursday from 1 to 3, so you guys can do that for me. And did I end up getting Kirsten in? Yes, perfect. So Kirsten's now in. Excellent. Okay. And then I just wanted to show you October, just because that's seriously just around the corner. You have on Monday, remember, no classes Monday. You have the field trip party for the grade 10s to go to, and I'm sure Mrs. Ward has given you guys details on that. I'm not here, so I'm kind of out of the loop with that, but hopefully you guys are all fully aware of what's happening there. Mrs. Ward will know as well. Then we have some art lessons happening on the Wednesday. Thursday's continuation of the rock climbing, and then Friday is a no school, so that means no field trips. So that's probably why rock climbing got moved to the Thursday. I did not put any specific information because it is still next week when this is happening. So the times might change, something might change. So next week I'll give you guys a little bit more information on that kind of stuff, okay? All right, and so again, just a reminder, tomorrow you are here with me again. Just trying to catch up from classes that we're going to be missing. So from 9 to 10:30 tomorrow, I'll need to see you guys here, and then you'll continue with Mrs. Ward after that, okay? Just the 10s for what, Caitlin? Are you talking on the Monday thing? The pate, P-A-R-T-Y, is just the grade 10s, if that's what you're talking about. Perfect. Okay. So today, here's what we're doing. We're going to look at some questions from previous day's work. I was getting a few of you guys emailing me and saying that, you know, I'm struggling with this question, which is great. This is awesome. The more you make your brain work, the better. We're going to do a few more questions that I'm going to give you to work on the negative exponents. You'll get some practice time with that. We're going to come back. I'm going to have you guys do a little game. And then you're going to do, after the class is over, you're going to do the quiz on the negative exponents. So we'll have a little bit more practice time today. And then afterwards, hopefully that helps you to do better on the quiz than if I just gave it to you right now. And then you'll have time to do work on lesson 3. So that is the plan. Mickey Mouse is me. I log in as a student all the time. So instead of typing student, I'm like, forget this. I'm not putting student in every time. So now it's going to be some kind of character or something silly. So yeah, so I'm going to be doing that. When is lesson 2 due? That was already due. That was already something that should have been handed in. So we're just going to work on this, and you guys can hand it in when you guys get a chance to do that. So yeah, we'll go over everything, because now that we've learned almost all of the components of the exponents, they're a part of everything. So it's not like I have to give you a specific example. So I can do one big one and say, oh, look, there's multiplying in there, and then, oh, there's a division of exponents, and oh, look, there's yada, yada, yada. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the questions that you guys had. Okay, so this was the one that you guys had to hand in. So I want to go over questions. First of all, I'll take questions from you, but I'm going to do, before I do that, I just want to do a quick reminder. So let me erase my little, sorry, 1 second. Let me erase this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I just want to do a quick reminder here for you guys. I'm just going to go back to this page for the reminder. When you have a negative exponent, it doesn't matter if it's something, oh, that's horrible. It doesn't matter if it's something like this or something like this. Whenever you have a negative exponent, it means that you need to do the reciprocal of it, okay? Now, sometimes the reciprocal doesn't have something showing, because remember, we're lazy in math. So sometimes it has that 1 below it. So when you flip that over, there is something technically on the bottom. I'm just going to erase that for now. Okay, so the reminder for this one, this negative right here is telling me, remember, it does that karate chop and it kicks him and it makes him flip over onto his side or his back on the ground, and then he runs away. So this guy, he's going to flip this one over with his karate chop. So it's technically 3/1. The negative disappears. He runs away because he's going to get in trouble, or you can say he's hiding in here. And then once he disappears, we're left with the 3 still. Okay, and because we're lazy in math, this part we don't have to do because it's just a 1 on the bottom. So you end up getting 27, because 3 times 3 times 3. And so same idea with this one. The negative, karate chops him, yeah! And he takes him down. And when he karate chops him, takes him down, he flips him. And remember, that's because there is technically a 1 there, okay? So now the 3 is on the bottom, he disappears, the karate chop guy disappears, and it comes back to 1 over 27. So I just wanted to remind you that that's what the negative exponent does. So when I was looking at, okay, Jocelyn, are you with me on here? Yeah, you're in here with me, Jocelyn. Okay, so that's fine. See if you can keep trying to get into Blackboard. I'm not sure why you can't get in or anything like that. So some of you, when you were doing some of your questions and I was looking at them, it was interesting because at the start of the worksheet I could see, oh yeah, they totally get the flipping, and you're flipping it and you're moving it. And then when it kind of got to some other questions, it almost seemed like some of you guys forgot that you had to flip. So just remember that that negative always means to flip whatever it's talking about, okay? Okay, so what I want to do is we're going to look at a couple of these questions here. This one, for the most part, I think you guys were okay with. So let's just look at L. So this -4 means the negative flips it. So it's a fraction already, so I just flip over the fraction. Negative runs away because it's in trouble, and the 4 stays. So now I just treat it as simply that. So it's going to be 3 to the power of 4, 2 to the power of 4, okay? So that's going to be 81, 4, 16, okay? So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Sorry, I'm going to get this out. Makes my life a lot easier. Okay. Does anyone, I'm just looking just at this section here, does anyone want, in question number 1, is there one that you were stuck on or you wanted me to look at or to double check you did it okay or anything like that? I'm going to look at F actually, that one looks like a good one. So when it's -2 to the -3, I flip it. So it becomes this, right? The negative disappears from that 3 and the 3 goes here. And because the negative is in the brackets, the negative is inside those brackets, what that means is that it is really going to be -2 times -2 times -2. So it stays within it. So your answer is indeed negative. Okay? 2, 4, 6, 8. There we go. So it would be 1 over 8. And the negative is there. Okay? All right, so M and N. Okay, so I got F, M, and N. Okay, so let's have a look at those ones. I'm just going to do, so this one, so I'm going to do M over here. So I have 2 to the -4 over 3. So what that -4 is telling me to do is I need to take whatever it's talking to, which is the 2, and I have to flip it. So right now, this is sort of what this question actually looks like. I'm going to do a little sidebar here. This is really 2 over 1 to the -4, and it's kind of actually timesing by 1 over 3. That's sort of the longer version of what it actually looks like, and then to simplify it, we squish it together, and then we know 2 times 1 is 2, so the 2 goes there and has a -4, and 3 times 1 goes on the bottom. So that is sort of what it looks like separately. So when you look at it this way, now it's easy to see what you have to do with that -4. So now I have to take that 2 over 1 and flip that 2 over 1. So now it becomes 1 over 2 to the power of 4, and then I'm just going to show you with the 1 over 3. So now I just can do the math now and join them together, okay? So hopefully that makes sense, because this guy right here, because 2 to the power of 4 is 16, right? Oh, whoops, I multiplied that wrong, sorry. My bad. Oh, no, I didn't. What did I do? Sorry, I wrote that wrong. I multiplied it right. Sorry. Silly, silly. So something like that. Okay, so does that help with M there? Hopefully you guys can see that. So then N, if I do N, I have 2, 3 to the power of -4. Okay, so now again that -4 is telling me that it is really 2 over 1 times by 1 over 3 to the negative 4. Okay, so now when I see it that way, now I can flip it and put it into the numerator spot. So it's 2 over 1. You don't have to rewrite that if you don't want. I'm just showing kind of a long way to try to make you guys understand. So when I flip it, the 3 goes to the top, the negative disappears. And so basically, like I said, you don't have to put that here. So I'm going to get rid of it because I have nothing on the bottom. So now it's just a matter of multiplying these together. So it's going to be 2 times 81, and we get 162. Okay? How is that for you guys? So we have F, M, and N all done. Okay? Okay, good. I hope that... So like I said last time when I was showing this to you, take each one kind of as an individual thing. Don't look at the big picture and see all of these massive numbers and these all functions and all these exponents and everything in there. And try to take it and look for, okay, let's look at this guy. What exponent? What is that exponent telling me to do? So try to kind of take it into like little parts. All right. Number 2, does anybody want me to go over any of those here? A. Okay, so A, because these guys right here have the same base and they're multiplying together, what do we do with the exponents? What do we do with the exponents? Yeah, we're doing that right now, Belle, okay? Yeah, we add them together. So because these bases are multiplying together, we add the exponents. So that is technically x to the power of 2 plus negative 4, that's a negative, plus the negative 5. Okay? So right now, that is what that's actually saying. I'm taking the base, they're all multiplying together, so then I take all those exponents and add them together. So for my a's, I have these two on the same team. Remember we kind of went over exponents last day, or integers when they're same team, they join together, join forces, so now they join together to be -9, so I still have the 2 plus. So when I do that, I get x to -7, because those two are on different teams. The 2's on the positive team, the 9's on the negative team. Negative wins by 7 people. So that's the answer for the x part, okay? So now the y part, the exact same thing. We have y 5 plus the -2, because we add the exponents because the bases are, multiplying. So you get y to the power of 3. So your full answer should be x -7 y power of 3. Now, it wants you to do this in positive exponents. So we know that this guy makes them flip over. So the y over 3 stays on the top, and the x goes on the bottom and becomes +7 because the negative ran away because we flipped him. He kicked them and he flipped and he ran. So this is the proper answer according to what the question was asking for. It wanted to see the x in a positive spot. Can you just zoom out just a little bit so they can see the stuff on top of that? Thank you. So here, yes, technically the right answer, but the question wanted it in positives, okay? Yeah, so Caitlin, P, hope that answered that you're -7 there, right? Okay. Good. Okay, so let's look at m. So I'm going to do m over here. So I have 4x, oh, stop it. 4x to the -2, y to the 3, over 6x to the 4, y to the -3, and I have -2. So right away, there's a negative affecting everything. I'm going to flip everything over. So what that tells me, and there's 2 ways you can do this. There really is, actually. You can get rid of the negative right away and flip everything, or you can take that exponent on the outside and do the multiplying. So I'll kind of show you both how that works. So I actually, one of you, I can't remember who that was, one of you did that. You showed me both ways. I can't remember what it was. So I'll try to show you both ways here. So what I'm going to start off is just get rid of that negative and do the flipping right away. So I'm going to flip, so the denominator now goes to the top. The numerator gets flipped and moves to the bottom. And now the negative sign is gone and I'm left with just an exponent of 2. So now, this is now this another part that we were talking about. I think, Belle, this will help you too. So now we have an exponent on the outside. This is where the exponents multiply to the exponents. So prior to this, this question here, the bases were multiplying to themselves, and therefore we did a whole bunch of adding. So this one, now we have exponents having to be multiplied to other exponents and to the stuff inside. So this turns into, I have to remember I have to do 6 squared, because there's technically a 1 there. Don't forget that. There's technically a 1 right on top of that 6, but we don't do that. We don't show that. So because there's a 1 here, I take my 2 and multiply the exponents. 2 times 1 is 2. I write my x and I go 2 times 4 is 8. I do y, I go 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Okay? And then on the bottom I have to do the same thing. 4 to the power of 2, x, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. And y, 3 times the 2 is 5. So that's one of the other exponent laws. All right? So the yellow in question 1a that I showed you, that is the exponent law when you're adding. And then this is now the one where the exponents are going to be multiplying to each other. I think it's called power of the powers or something like that. Okay? So now we can start doing some of the other rules. So now this is a division thing. So now what do we do when we have bases that are the same and it's a division? What do you do with the exponents? Oh, sorry. Yeah. I added that. Sorry. You guys caught my mistake. Thank you. Oopsies. That should be a 6. Good job. Thank you. Yeah, I do that many times. All right. So when I have same bases and what do I do with the exponents? If they're division. So if I have 5 to the power of 2 divided by 5 to the power of 6, what do I do with those? Subtract. You guys are awesome. Good job. Okay. So this one, what I'm going to do now is I am going to subtract these guys. So I'm just going to keep the 6 here, and it's what's squared. So if you guys want, what you could do is I would probably get this done and get rid of that exponent. So 6 squared is 36. So I would do that right now. Now I have x, here, I have x to the power of 8 and x to the power of negative 4. What that is actually saying is x to the power of 8 subtract negative 4. Okay? And if you remember from when you were learning exponents, you change subtraction to addition, and then you change the sign to the opposite. So technically it's going to be 8 plus 4. So I am going to have x to the power of 12 here. Okay? Then I have my y's. And so my y's would be y to the power of negative 6, and I'm subtracting 6. So if I do all my changing, it means add, and I got to change the sign to the opposite. So I have a negative 12 there. So y to the negative 12, and then I got 4 squared on the bottom. Can't forget him, which is 16. So again, we have to do positive exponents. So we have one that's not exponent, positive exponent right now. And we have numbers that are what? What do I need to worry about with these numbers? What do I have to do to them as I'm kind of working along? Divide. What's the purpose? Why am I dividing these numbers? What am I trying to do with them? Always trying to do what with them? Yeah, I'm always trying to simplify, so I need to figure out a number that goes into them. So what it would be the highest number that you guys can come up with that goes into the top and bottom evenly? What number would that be? Uh, 16 does not go into 36, but that would have been one of the higher numbers for sure. Don't give me the answer, tell me. I'm trying to show the steps. So what number would I divide into 36 and 16 to keep my working? So what number would I divide into those? Yeah, 4, perfect. So I'm going to divide 4 into the top and bottom. And so what that does is it gives me a 9, because 36 divided by 4 is 9, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So now my coefficients are all simplified, which is really good. So the x is in a positive state right now. It's happy. It's going to stay on the top there. The only problem is this y is in the negative. So remember, negative flips it. So technically, it's y over 1 to the power negative 2. If I flip it, the 1 goes to the top. The 1 is useless because it's just top. It makes everything stay the same. The y goes on the bottom, and it stays positive. Okay? So as soon as you flip, and I want you to notice that, as soon as you flip something and take it from the bottom to the top or the top to the bottom, because of a negative exponent, it actually goes positive to that. So right away, as soon as I took this, y to the negative 2 and put it onto the bottom, it becomes y to the positive 2. So as soon as you move it, it does become positive. You change the 12 to a 2. Oh, it should be negative 12. I see what you're saying. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, my bad. Yeah. Doesn't change the answer at all. Good, thank you. Okay. So that is as far as we go. So right now we have all the exponents are positive just as they were wanting us to do. Okay. So very, very step by step. Now I did say there's another way of doing it. So does anyone, it's not necessarily easier or harder way, but I just want to show you that you can do some of the other stuff first if you want. So I'm just going to delete that. So over here, what you could do, because this is to the power of, oh, sorry, the original question's over here. Because this is to the power of negative 2, what you can do is work with that, and then everything just changes and but you still need to do the flip, and then once you've done the flip, you can now start going, you know what, I don't know if I would, I think I'm just going to leave it at that with this question. I don't know. I have to upload social. Yeah, okay. E or F after, like on this one, you're wanting to do E or F on this question? Okay. So let me just do this. Okay. I'm just going to put it into a new page, that question. I don't know how to do that. Okay. All right. So it's not beautiful, but it'll do. So let's look at E and F. I'm just going to make it bigger there. So, okay. So this one, it's to a negative 3. So right away with the negative 3, we flip. Okay. And because there's nothing on the bottom, the denominator is 1. So we flip. So now 1 becomes the top. And now we have negative 4, x to the power of 3, y to the negative 2. That's a z to the negative 1. Okay. And then we have it to the power of 3 because now it's on the bottom. I've moved it, so now the negative disappears. Okay, so now everything, now this is just the basic exponent law of just multiplying all the exponents to each other and then putting, if there's a coefficient, putting it to that power of that number. So this would become negative 4 to the power of 3. This would become x, and now I multiply these two together, so that would be x to the power of 9. Multiply these two together, so that would be negative 6, and multiply these two together, that would be negative 3. Okay? So then you just continue on with the work from there. So it's 1 over, so negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 is negative 64, I believe. Am I right there? Yeah, okay. Then I have x to the power of 9. Now here's the thing, I have nothing else to simplify in these questions, but I have negative exponents, so I might as well move them to the top, which makes them positive exponents. So the 1 is useless now because it doesn't need to be there. So I'm just going to put the y to the 6 on the top and the z to the power of 3. And I'm going to erase that 1, oopsies, not with that one, because we don't put a 1 as a coefficient if it doesn't need to be there. Before it did, because there was nothing there, you just can't have it blank. But now that we have a y up there and a z up there, and so that doesn't look pretty, but that's the basic answer. Okay? Okay, How did that work for you, Danica? Are you okay with that? Okay, perfect. So then this one here, looking at f, again, negative exponent on the outside tells me to flip. So when I flip, I have to put the 1 on top because I can't leave it blank, and because this whole number had a negative 1 on the bottom. I rewrite all of this stuff, okay, and then I put the 3 back on the outside. Is that negative 4? Do I have to go negative 4 to the power of 3 in this question? Do I have to put negative 4 to the power 3 as I do working? Good. No, I don't, because it's not, the 3 is talking about the brackets, it's not talking about the negative 4. So I'm just going to ignore the negative 4 right now. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So the negative 4 is going to stay out, and I'm just going to worrying about the stuff in the exponents here. So x to the power of 9, because you multiply the exponents, y to the power of negative 6, and z to the power of negative 3. Okay, so now again I want to, I can multiply this together. The 4 can stay where it is. It's not a big deal. It's just multiplying it becomes a coefficient. So the negative 4 stays. The x stays because it's a positive exponent. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up these two guys because they have a negative exponent on the bottom. So if I move them up to the top, they now have a positive exponent. Okay, and no other bases are the same, so I can't simplify the x's anymore because there's only one x and everything like that. Okay, so are we good with those two questions? Anyone confused with anything there? Okay, good, yeah. So sometimes it's just a matter of seeing something again and working with it. So you guys are welcome to, if you're struggling with any of the worksheet, to practice and work on that, okay? Can you zoom in on F, please? Just so they can see that. Mr. Ross is awesome. Look what he does. He just clicked a button and zoomed in. Perfect. Okay, so you can see what's happening there. All right. Okay, so going back to where we were. So let's go back here. And this is the second part. And I think for the most part, you guys, I think you guys did okay on this part of the questions. Just remember, if they're adding or subtracting and they have the same base, it doesn't matter. They have to be multiplying or dividing or have exponent on kind of the outside of it, knocking at its door, okay? Sometimes the answer keys are wrong. I just want to let you guys know that. So I've gone through these a few times and noticed that some of the answer keys are wrong. So how you know, you won't know if they're wrong. So okay, so this one, let's just look at B. Let's look at 3B. So 3 to the sorry, I'm using there. 3 to the negative 2, which means I have to flip it, and it comes 3 squared. Adding on, and then this one is 3 to the negative 3, which means I flip it and put it to the power of 3. And then you just do the math from there. Okay, so that one is that one. Let's see. I'm not going to go over 4 there. That's kind of just trial and error for you try to figure out if you can get the answer. So are we good with this worksheet? I'm thinking. Okay. Can we do 4C? 4C. Okay. So 4C, so we're dividing. Okay. Now we want to get the answer to -1/8. Okay, so that means that the number most likely is going to have some kind of negative involved in it. So it's going to have to be a negative number with that one, okay? So then what, let me just look at that. So then when these, same bases, right? So then what I need to do is, what do I do if they have the same bases and they're dividing? What do I do to those exponents? Good, so I'm going to subtract. So it becomes x to the power of, this is technically 1, subtract 4, and that becomes x to the power of negative 3. So when we look at this number, when we follow this step, that tells me to flip and becomes x to the power of 3. So now we have to look and try to get it to look like this guy here. So we have that done, right? We know that it has to be negative, so x is going to have to be a negative number because we have to match this negative. So what number, when I go something times something times something, gets me to the answer 8? What number multiplied or cubed? Yeah, exactly. So it's just a matter of kind of backtracking and doing things and working with it. And you know what? If you got the answer as 3, put the number into the question and find out if that works. So go 3 divided by 3 to the power of 4, do the work, and if it doesn't work and doesn't get you to that answer, then it's not 3. So then go, oh shoot, it's way high, way low, whatever, and then just adjust your numbers. So sometimes you just have to play with them that way. Okay, I think we're good at looking at all those questions. So here's what I want you to do. Make sure you have a piece of paper, fresh, clean piece of paper, and I'm going to give you guys some practice questions to work on your own now. So with math, you learn way better by doing it on your own and doing it and finding where you're having glitches and seeing you work through the glitches. Watching me is awesome because then you're like, oh, I can see what you did, but you don't have me showing you ahead of time on a quiz, a test, or on homework or anything like that. So it's nice to see if you can now do it on your own, okay? Yeah, tomorrow 1 through 3. Okay, so on your piece of paper, you have 7 questions to do. Okay, and I'm going to give you guys till 10 o'clock to do that. So write these questions out, get them all written down, and then do the work. Again, do little bit by little bit. It will help you instead of look at the big question and go, oh, I'm stuck. Start with looking at the exponent and see what you can do there. Some of them have the negative exponent like I've been working with you guys, like this one or this one. Some of them don't have that bigger picture. They just have the little ones in here. So what do you do with them to make them positive? So I'm going to add that in there. Ensure answer has positive exponents. Just kind of what we were doing just now, which you guys are going to be masters at. Yeah. Okay. So you are now on your own till 10 o'clock getting these questions done, and then we'll go over them when we get back. Okay. Chat will be open. I'll kind of periodically have a peek at it if you need to. Okay. See you guys in a while. All right, welcome back. Okay, so we are going to go over those. I'm just going to give you like a little breather and just a chance to kind of shake that math numbers out for a little bit. I'm going to get you guys to play a little activity, a little game, and just, I think I know what's going to happen here, but I'm going to put you guys into breakout rooms, and I think I understand how to do that and how everything works, but if there's glitchy things, just bear with me, be patient with me. So I'm going to teach you everything, what you have to do first before I actually do the breakout rooms in Blackboard there. So it's called tic-tac-win, so it's like tic-tac-toe in a way. And what happens is one person, you're going to be partnered up, and one person only has odd numbers that they're allowed to use, and the other person's always only even. So you guys kind of get to decide who wants to be what. And the person that is doing the odds is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and the person doing evens is 0. Zero is included, 2, 4, 6, 8. So whoever is the odd person gets to start, and you're only allowed to use a number once. So as you're placing the numbers into the spot, you can only put that number in once. And what you're trying to do is using a tic-tac-toe board, is trying to make a line. So just like you do with X's and O's with tic-tac-toe, this one you're using numbers, and you want to make a row, a line, that adds up to 15. So your job is to try to be the first person to do that. So it'll be a little bit fun. You might, just like in tic-tac-toe, there are times when no one wins, right? There's little tricks in tic-tac-toe that you can win if the other person doesn't know the trick. So this one, probably same idea. When you're doing this, someone might not win. You have to play another game. Someone might win quickly. Someone might know the little clues and not ever let you win. So it just depends. So what you're going to do is I'm going to create the breakout room. You guys are going to go with the partner that you've been randomly slotted with. And you have whiteboard. So what I'd like you guys to do on whiteboard, you guys create a tic-tac-toe, and you need to decide who's going to be odds, who's going to be evens. And odd goes first, puts a number somewhere on the tic-tac-toe board, and then evens goes, they put their number somewhere on the tic-tac-toe board, and your job is to try to make the number 15. The person that makes the number 15, it can include odd and even numbers, okay? You just only are allowed to put your certain odd or even number down, but when you actually make the line of 15, diagonal, up and down, across, whatever it is, it can have a combination of odd and even in there, okay? So any questions about that before I take you into your breakout rooms? And what I'm going to do is once you're in the breakout rooms, I'm going to use, I'll be here, and then I'll say, okay, time to come out, and then I'll get you guys to leave your breakout rooms and come out. You win if you add up to 15 in a line. So you have to use adding. So you look at a line, and if your line if two of them are filled up, if there's an 8 and a 2, and you're the odd person and you put a 5, yay, you made a line and it adds up to 15. So the first person to make 15. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Good. Okay, thanks, Cassie. Okay, so I am going to put you guys into the breakout rooms. Once I do that, you guys can play for a little bit, have some many games as you guys can get in, and then I'll call you guys back out in a bit. Okay. All right. And if Miss Mac was smart, she would have counted how many kids there are. I have 22, so I'm going to need 11 rooms. Okay, so go find your rooms there, guys, and have at her, have some fun. Go ahead and play. Just in case you guys weren't able to earlier, you now can write on the board, so you guys should be good to go, okay? We'll change the time to 4 minutes now, so you guys have time to do that. All right, guys, if I can get you back out of your breakout rooms, please. Good job. I was able to join most of you guys. Sorry, Alexis and Kirsten. By the time I got to you, time was kind of over. So, yeah, hopefully next time you guys will be able to. You guys should have been able to just use your mouse and stuff and write on there. Does anyone have any other technique that they use to write in Blackboard like that on the whiteboard? Most of you guys just use your mouse, I'm assuming. So, okay. Good, good. Okay, so now let's go and have a peekapoo at some of these questions, okay? So, Miss Mac planned ahead. Yeah, and guess what she did? She wrote the questions down ahead of time on there. Yeah, so we don't have to waste time writing them down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go through this with you, and the goal again is always to have positive exponents. Okay, so now I am just wondering, because their names are still in here, do I have to close? Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, Miss Mac's happy now. This is a whole new thing for me. I'm learning stuff along the way. Mrs. War had to come and help me with some things. Okay, so let's go through this. So there's really nothing here to do. The bases are different. I can't join any exponents together. There is no magical exponent on the outside telling me to do anything. So I have to look at this and see what can I do with just what's actually there. Okay, so I have the -3 stays. I have x to the power of -5, which means if I move that to the bottom, it's now positive. Okay, so I did flip it. There is a 1 on the top, so technically there's a 1. I'm just going to do it right there. Technically the 1 over x to the power of 5 is there, but because there's a number on there and -3 times 1 is -3, there is no point of putting that there. Okay. Then the y to the power 2 is positive, so I'm going to keep it up there. This guy's negative. I flip him, and I get to that answer. Okay? So hopefully everyone is okay with that one. All right. All right. I'm going to move on. Don't hear any squawking. You guys, I hope everyone can. You guys can hear me, right? You guys are good? I haven't seen anyone type anything yet in a second, so. Yeah, okay, good. Whew, okay, again, new. I just need to make sure I did everything. Okay. All right, so let's look at this one. So now we have, again, nothing that we can really do except just move things around to make them positive and negative. So the -5 is going to, the -5 is to the power of -3. So because it's like that, we have to now do the flip of it. So I could put the 1 on top, but because I have stuff on the top, the 1 doesn't have to go there at this moment. So I'm going to move the -5. Actually, I'm going to keep, yeah. Technically, it's this that moves. I'm going to just slot the negative on the bottom here. And it's going to be 5 to the power of 3. So now I flipped it, and now it's positive. The x squared stays on the top. The y is a -4, so I'm going to put that on the bottom, and it's positive, it's happy, it's like gloriously positive right now. And then we have the z, but the z doesn't want to go there, so, because the z is negative, so it wants to go up to the top where it can be positive, all right? So the only thing left to do is worry about this guy, and so the top stays like that, and this goes like, oop, that just went all wonky. Goes like that. Okay? So hopefully everyone did well with that. Any questions on those two? Anybody? 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 Good. Okay, next one. So this one now I have to do something. So now it needs me to be doing things. So now I have to, because it's knocking on the door, I need to multiply by everything that's inside the room or inside the house or however you want to look at it. So it's going to be 4 exponent onto the 5. Can't forget that. Never forget your coefficient, okay? And then a. Now when I do that, What am I doing with the exponents? I got a 3 and the 4. I have the exponents and I'm in the knocking door. Nice try with the adding. The adding is only when they're multiplying like this. Oops. When they're multiplying like that. That's when I add them. But what happens when it's literally knocking on the door like that? What do I do with the exponents? Yeah, multiplying. Perfect. Good. So I'm going to multiply those together. So I get 12. I get b to the negative 24 when I multiply those two together. And the last two, I get c to the 20. Okay. So anyone confused with what I did on that step at all? So someone asked me to go a little slower, so I'm just going to just kind of slow down and see if everyone's okay on that stage. Okay. All right. So now we have to just make sure everything is finished. So we just have to make sure that our coefficients have been sufficiently kind of expanded out as much as I need them to go to, and also just to make sure that I don't have any negative exponents. So this 5 to the power of 4 means 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, or 25 times 25, same kind of dealio. So that's 625. The A stays on the top because it's a positive 12, so it's all good. B, nope, not happy. It wants to go on the bottom because it's negative, so we flipped it. So we did the reciprocal of it. And C is happy schmappy up on the top there. Doesn't want to move anywhere. Okay? So far so good, I hope. I'm not getting too much questions or anything right now. Is everyone okay? Yeah, we're going to look at 4 now. Okay, perfect. So let's look at number 4. Notice I left a whole page for number 4. Okay, so like I said, always look at each little part and just work on that slowly and break it down. So the first thing I'm going to do with breakdown is work on flipping over this whole thing. So because it's technically over 1 right now, when I flip it, the 1 goes on the top. And I rewrite here. And I'm going to do this just to show you, but technically anything to the power of 1 is whatever it is. So there is really nothing left to do on that question. It is kind of going to stay like that until we start figuring everything else out. So is everyone okay with how I flipped that? What's the answer of 2 quick? The question number 2? Right there. All right, you okay, Jocelyn? Good, okay. So now I'm going to go look at the other side, and now there's no negative here, but it is telling me to do the knocking at the door technique. So this next fraction, there is no negative here. I do not flip it. The only time you flip it is the negative, okay? So this one now, it's almost like when we did this question here, we didn't flip it here, right? We didn't flip it here, so because it's a positive thing, and we just did the knocking at the door technique. So that's what we're going to do on this one. Okay, so all we're going to do is do this, okay? So I get 3 to the power of negative 2, A multiplying, 3 times 2 is 6, and B, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And if it makes you feel better, you can put it over 1 so that it sort of matches the other side, because it looks weird for some people that way, okay? All right, change of colors. All right, so now what we just have to do is start worrying about, we can do a couple different things here. We can do some simplifying first, or we can start moving things up and down and start doing it that way. So I'm going to split this off into 2 different styles of ways you can do this one. One way you can do it is because when you've got fractions, you multiply across like that. So 1 times anything over on the other side is just exactly this. So I am going to make this just look a little nicer than having all of that stuff there. All right, so does everyone see what I just did there? Does everyone understand what I did? Okay, any questions on that? So that should be okay? All right, so now we have this division and we have some common bases. So now we can start doing some subtraction of the exponents. So here I have a to the negative 2 and a to the negative 2. So it's going to be negative 2 subtract negative 2, which turns to negative 2 plus 2. So those actually cancel out. So those guys actually disappear in this one. That's a little crazy. Okay? Hopefully everyone sees that, because negative 2 subtract a negative 2 is the same as negative 2 plus 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. You guys, yes, thank you. Some people are noticing my silly mistakes here. I did this the other time too. Okay, let me rewrite this question because then I can have it properly. So it, oops, come on. That should be 3 to the negative 2 and a to the power 6. There we go. Okay, my apologies. Okay, so looking at this, it will be 6. Oopsies, erase. Sorry. Okay. So this is going to be a to the 6, subtract the negative 2. So it's going to be 6 plus 2. So that's going to be a to the power of 8. Okay? So what I can do here is cross this guy off and make that into an 8. Or I can put my answer down there and say a is going to be to the power of 8. Now I can't forget about my coefficients. I need to have those guys on there as well. So 3 to the power of negative 2. So the 2's down here right now. If I have 3 to the power of negative 2, that means flip it. Okay? So that means the 1 goes on top. I don't need to put the 1 on top. And it's 3 squared. And it's going to multiply by that 2 in the bottom. So all I did was now move it to the bottom. And then if we look at the b's, I have b to the negative 6 and b to the 2. So if I'm subtracting those, that'll be negative 6 subtract 2, which means negative 6 plus negative 2, which gives me negative 8. So I'm just going to write this down right there for you. Okay? So now we just have to do a few little fixing ups. Everyone okay with those steps so far? Okay, why would you move that to the bottom like the 3? I would, but I just wanted to just put it there just to do less moving and confusing. I'm going to do one more step. So the last step would be finishing it off and making sure it's all good. So the a to the 8 stays on the top. That's the only thing that's going to stay on the top. I'm going to show it two ways, Alexis, so hopefully you'll be able to see it that way too. 3 squared is 9, but I'm also multiplying the 9 times the 2. So I'm doing this in my head, which equals 9. And then I'm taking the 2 and I'm multiplying them together. So I'm just going to put 18. And I'm going to take this guy, because it's a negative number, I'm going to flip it, do it the reciprocal, and I'm going to move it to the bottom where it's happier. Okay? All right. So the other way that you guys can do this is, I just forgot the other way now. What was the other way I was going to show you? Oh, so the other way I was going to show you is now you can look at the exponents and do the moving now and then simplify it afterwards. So I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to go in red mode here. So here, if I look at this section here, I do have some negative exponents that I'm actually going to move up now. So the 1's going to stay on the top. I'm going to keep the 2 here, but this guy is a to the negative 2. If I move him up, it's a to the positive 2. So I'm just going to be working on this little section right here. Okay, so I'm working on this section here, and I'm just moving things so they're in the positives and the negatives, getting rid of the negatives. And the b is still b squared. So does everyone see that? The b doesn't move, but the a moves to try to make it a positive exponent. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to look at this other side now, and I'm going to see, can I do any moving to get rid of some negative exponents? So I have 3 to the negative 2. So I'm going to move the 3 to the 2 to the bottom because it's a negative 2 exponent, which means I flip it. And so now it's on the bottom, and the negative disappears because I flipped it, found the reciprocal, so now it's 3 squared. A to the positive 6 as an exponent, staying on the top. I don't need to move it on the bottom. But b is a negative 6, so I'm going to move him to the bottom. And now he's positive again. So now we can start joining things together, okay? So this goes back to, remember how I said in a lot of these questions, even though they're negative exponent, there's always going to be other things going on. So this one here, now we are multiplying these together. And so we have a and a as a base. So we take those exponents and add them together. So on the top there, I have a to the power of 8. Okay. Then on the bottom, I now have to simplify, and I have some actual coefficient numbers. So I have 3 to the power of 2, which is 9. But I also have to multiply it to the 2 over here. So therefore, I get my 18. And then if I look at my exponents for b, because the bases are multiplying together, I add the exponents, which also gets us b to the power of 8. So both get you the same answer, but it all depends on which method you want to do. So this method that I did right here has you moving the stuff up and down first to get rid of all of those negative exponents and then simplifying. This one here gets you to, it joins those fractions together if it needs to be done, and then you just use the technique of subtracting exponents, and then you have to move them so they're positive. So this one could be a little bit more extra steps. It just depends on the question and how much there is to do. How about the 1? What happens with the 1? If I times 1 by a million, 1 times an a, 1 times 6.3, 1 times square root of 7, does it change the answer at all? Exactly. So that's why in math we don't put the 1s down. It's just pointless. Yeah. Yeah. So that's our laziness, right? That's what I'm trying to talk about. Okay. Let's look at question number 5. So with this one, it's a negative 1. So what that's asking me to do is just flip it. So I'm going to flip it over. It goes to the power of 1. Anything to the power of 1 is the same thing. So that's it. That's all you have to do in that question. So that one was quite easy. I just want to make sure that you understood that it becomes a reciprocal of it. Okay. This one is not a negative exponent, so there's no flipping that's happening right now. Okay. So all I have to do is now do the knocking at the door technique. I'm going to have to knock at the door to the x, the 3, to the 2, and to the 7. So when I knock at the door for the 3, I get that. When I knock at the door, remember I'm multiplying. It's going to be 5 times 2. The knocking at the door technique is multiplying. So I get 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 2, so 2 squared. Sorry, I didn't mean 2 times 2. 2 to the power 2. And then y, 7 times 2 is 14. So then I just have to simplify that a little bit more. So I can't join x's and y's. They have different bases, so those are going to stay the same. They are positive exponents. I don't have to do any moving. Woohoo! Yay! I don't have to do any moving. It's awesome. But the only thing I have to do is make those better. I don't want to have those the way they are. So that becomes a 9. The x to the 10 stays the same. And that becomes a 4. And that stays the same. Okay? All right. Any questions on those two at all? Okay. Thanks, Cass. All right. Silence is golden. I'm assuming we're okay with those two. And the last one, this one does have a negative, so we will have some flipping going on with that. Okay? So, all right. So with this one, this is what I'm going to choose to zoom in on 6. Mr. Ross, apparently she wants, if I move this way, you see, you're okay? All right. Is that good, Jocelyn? Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So this one, What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that -4 and I'm going to do the negative part. I'm going to flip it right away, so now I don't have that negative exponent to worry about. So basically this guy means change these two over, do the reciprocal, okay? So I'm going to rewrite it, but now I'm going to have the denominator on the bottom, and the numerator now flips over and goes to the bottom. I think I said something wrong there, but that's okay. Do what I do. And then we're still at the power of 4. All right. Everyone with me so far? Everyone understand how we went from there to there? Okay. So now that I got rid of that, thank you. Now that I got rid of that negative exponent, now I'm going to start worrying about the knocking at the door part of it. Okay. So I am going to now take the 4 and multiply it exactly how I need to do it. So it's going to be 3 to the power of 4. It's going to be x to the power of -20, because -5 times 4 is -20. Why is the 2 on the bottom negative? Because it was negative here. I didn't change anything. All we were was just flipping everything. This negative here does not tell us to do anything else but take whatever it's talking about and just flip it. We keep everything exactly the same, then we start dealing with stuff later, okay? So that's all that was telling us, is just saying, just take this fraction, like for example, if it was 11/3, take that fraction, flip it. That's all it's telling us to do. It doesn't care if there's a, that's 11. It doesn't care if there's a negative number there or not, or whatever it is, it's just saying flip it, okay? So yeah, and then I have to do this, so I get y to the power of 8, because again, we're multiplying. And then on the bottom, I have to do the exact same thing. So here I have -4 to the power of 4. Then I have x, the -2 times the 4 is -8. Have the y, -3 times 4 is -12. Okay, so is everyone okay so far with that? Okay, all right. So now we're going to start kind of simplifying things, and this is where you can kind of decide what you want to do. I'm not going to show both ways on this one, because you're going to need to know which technique works better for you. One option is that you can start subtracting the exponents. You can do it that way, and then see what answer you get, and then put it up or down depending on if the exponent's negative or not. Or what you can do is start moving them now, and then start joining them from there. So it doesn't matter which technique that you want to do. If you struggle with subtracting, like, so for example, this one here is a -20, and this is a -8. If you have a hard time going -20 subtract -8, and that's a hard thing for you, then maybe move them and then make them positive, and it might be a little bit easier for you to do that. So that's the technique I'm going to show for this one right now. So I hope everyone's okay with me just showing that technique. So 3 to the power 4, I'm going to fix that right now. I'm going to make that 81. And this, I'm going to draw the line now. This is x to the power of -20. I want it to be positive. I'm going to move it down. So I'm just focusing on this guy right now. I'm not worrying about what everything else is on the bottom. I'm just going to move him down right now. Then I have y to the power of 8. I'm going to keep him y to the power of 8 because it's positive. So I'm going to keep it there. So is everyone understanding why that 20 got moved? Everyone understands because it was a -20, you flip it, and now it's on the bottom, and now it's a +20. Okay. So I just dealt with the numerator section. So what I'm going to do now is move on to the bottom and work on that. Okay. So here I have -4 to the power of 4. 16 times 16 is 256. Don't always have that one memorized. Sometimes I do, sometimes I forget. Now I have this guy I'm going to look at. It's a -8. So I don't want it negative, so I flip it because it's a negative, and I put it on the top. So now the 8's on the top. Everyone cool with that move? Everyone good? Everyone good? Perfect. Okay. All right. Then the y to the negative 12, again the y is negative to a negative 12, so I'm going to bring that up here. Okay. So now I have to do all that other simplifying. So now I have to go, okay, if I'm dividing, I subtract the integers. If I'm multiplying, I add the integers. So I have a little bit more simplifying to do. How many steps it takes you to do this is fine. If you find shorter ways of doing it, that's totally cool, but I'm just going to always show you guys along the way so you guys can see that. So the 81 stays. So now I'm going to look at these two. So I need to subtract those guys. 8 subtract 20. That gets me a negative 12. Where should I put that? If it's x to the negative 12, where should I put it? On the top and write x to the negative 12? What would happen if I put it on the bottom? Let's see if some of you guys, where should I put that x to negative 12? I want it to be positive, right? Yeah, so I want it to be positive. So technically, x to the negative 12 should go on the top line. It really technically should. But I'm going to move it down here, because guess what? Now it's positive. Okay? Then these two here, they're multiplying together, so I have to add their exponents together. So when I add those exponents together, I get 20, and then I cannot forget this. Okay? Okay, so those were all the questions. Hopefully doing this work helped you guys a little bit getting a better understanding of how this works. It's just always like a little step, a little step, a little step. And if you move it from the top to the bottom or vice versa, it changes from positive to negative depending on what you did, or negative to positive depending on what you did. Okay, so we're going to just look at this quickly, and then I'm going to send you guys on your merry way to do some work, and you guys have a quiz to do with me as well. So with this one, it wasn't uploading onto this program really well for me. It was just doing something weird. So I've taken little snippets of it. So these are the rules that you guys have learned. You guys have actually learned these rules, but I just want, and they have names to them. I'm not going to ask you for the names of them. Seriously, that doesn't matter. As long as you know what you're doing, that's totally fine. Okay? So, nope, the quiz is today, guys. Yeah, after class. All right, so this one is just saying this. When we have, whoops, that's supposed to be an N. Make that an N. I'm going to erase it. That's supposed to be an N. You add them together. Okay, so that's one of the rules. No, we've done quite a few questions on this, and you guys did have some homework, they did have some answer keys, so it's just going to be now to see how much you're able to do. And like I said, guys, I don't sit there and take your marks and go, oh, I'm going to average all their quizzes together. I look to see, okay, they were struggling here, they struggled here, they struggled here. Oh my gosh, by the time we got to the test, they absolutely knew what they were doing. I'm not going to take in those marks that you didn't do well and average it into that and lower your mark. If you got an A on the test, you understand the stuff, you get an A. If you were getting like not passings here, I don't lower it down to like a C or a C+. I look to see how you're doing. So just take these as ways of improving, learning, and taking what you know and applying it, and just me checking in to see, do I need to help you with something? Are you doing what you need to do to get better? Are you doing more questions? Are you looking back at the recordings? Are you asking someone for help? Are you using photo math to see if it'll help you show them? Are you coming in from 1 to 3 for help? So that's also what this helps to do as well, okay? Nope, don't worry about it. It'll be all good. You're going to put the time in. You're going to have some practice time and everything. You're going to breathe. You're going to look at all my study hints and techniques. You can do all of those sorts of things, and you'll be fine. Go into the test with your brain not panicking. Don't go into a test with your brain panicking. Go in going, I've done what I need to do, and how I do, I'm going to be happy with, and if there's an issue, Ms. Mack will help me deal with it, and we'll go from there, okay? I am not talking about a test right now, guys. We're not dealing with the test, okay? I said you just have to do a quiz on negative exponents, but we're going to go to that in a second. Let me finish this, okay? All right. So this is a product of the powers, which is one of the things we've done. The other one is This one, when we're quotient members, answer to division. So with this one, we subtract. Okay, so hopefully that's jogging your guys' memory on this. And this one is the knocking at the door. Okay, where you multiply them together. Okay, this is sort of the same thing, but they just show it in a different way. Excuse me. So if I had this, it's the exact same. It's just showing that it applies to everything inside of there. And this one is the same format, but just this, which means a to the power of m and b to the power of m. So you guys were already doing all of these. So that's just kind of the review of that stuff. So what I said earlier, Angelina, was like, I'm just showing this. This is the knowledge that you guys know. I don't care if you know what they're named. I'm never going to ask you, find the product of the power of this. I'm never going to do that. I'm going to give you a question and you're going to go, hey, I know how to do all these things, and just do them. I'm not going to make you do anything according to naming something or following the logic of a name of things or anything like that. Okay? So I just wanted to point out, this is what you guys know what to do. You didn't even know what the names are, but guess what? You know how to do all of these laws, because they're kind of called power laws. All right, so this one, okay, so with this one, if you notice, their bases are the same. So I can actually now join them together with their exponents. So everybody on Blackboard, tell me, what would I do with their exponents? Okay, let me just finish this, Jocelyn, okay? Yes, perfect. So with this one, because the exponents are multiplying together, I'm going to add them, okay? So if I go back, and I'm going to help Jocelyn here as well, it's this one right here, okay? The bases are multiplying together. Because the bases are multiplying together, we add the exponents, okay? So that's what I'm going to do on this one, okay? So it's going to be decimal 3. If you want to put the 0 in front, go for it. And it's going to be -3 plus 5. So when I add those together, I get 2. Okay, and I don't care about the number. You don't have to worry about that. So it's, okay? All right, this one. So this one gets a little bit, you know what? I'm not going to do this one with you guys. We're going to skip that one. Let's go to this. Okay. See what I do? I'm like, we're not doing that one. All right, this one, we do also have multiplication between the x's. So again, we do some adding. So we have x to the power of 3, x to the power of 2. We add them together, we get x to the power of 5. The y's, y to the power of 2, y to the -4. I add those together, I get -2. We have a negative exponent, people. Okay, so what do we have to do? The 5 stays on the top. We put the y to the bottom so that it is now positive. Always want to be positive, always want to be happy, everything. We want that to be good to go. Clear as mud, are we good with that one? Okay. And this one. So, again, we can simplify. There's nothing more that we have to do, but now we're dividing. So if I go back to, oops, I can't move my mouse. If I go back to this one, there we go. It is going to be looking at these guys, right? So that's where we take the exponents and subtract them, okay? So, but before we do that, we have some coefficients. We're going to deal with them. So we have 10 divided by 2. Magical answer is 5 big smackers, okay? Now we can start worrying about our exponents. So we have a similar base. So we take the exponents and subtract them. We get a to the power of 3. B's, we have b to the power of 3. B to the power of 3. So it's going to be 3 subtract -2. 3 plus 2. So the answer is b to the power of 5, and voila, we don't even have to do any moving because all the exponents are positive. Okay, so we've done we've done almost a couple hours of practicing, probably closer to an hour and a half of practicing these negative exponents. In a second, I'm going to get you guys to show me where you're at with that, okay? If you have not handed in some of the work, I would really like you to still hand that in. It is something that I'm adding into my book as well, so I just want to make sure you're handing that in. You don't do well, that's fine, but like I said, I look at the progress. So you didn't do well on the worksheet, didn't do well on the quiz, on the test, you rocked it, then you rocked it, okay? It's not going to let you hand it in because I haven't opened it up yet, okay? So you guys just have to wait. I haven't started doing any of that stuff yet. So moving forward, there is a worksheet that you need to do. It is Unit 1, Lesson 3 assignment that is on the eSchool site. You do not have to do those two questions, number 3, B, and C, and it's for practice only. So you have some choices to make. You can do this first today. You have to get the quiz done by 3 o'clock today, though. So you can do this first or do a couple questions and just make sure you're good. Then do the quiz, or do the quiz first and then do this worksheet. So it doesn't matter either way which one you can do that. The one on Tuesday. Okay, Jocelyn, I'll have to check into that. Okay, it should. I haven't closed off anything, so I don't know why it wouldn't. Okay. So yeah, so this you will have to have done. You're not handing it in. This is for you to practice, because coming up it will be a test, so you need to make sure that you're able to do all of these things. But again, the quiz is only going to be on the stuff. The stuff on that worksheet is the same questions that will be on the test. The test will be everything we've been doing, boom, testing you on it. Okay? That's what a test is. It kind of accumulates all the stuff that we've been doing and makes it into one big, lovely package of testing. Quiz does little sections. Okay? So the first section that we did was working with just the positives, looking with, and then looking at to the power of 0. That was the first quiz. This one is now just going to be focusing more on the negatives and making sure you're able to do that. Okay? So a couple of quiz reminders. You need to do it on your own. I don't want anyone there with you or anything like that. Don't talk about, I'm not talking about the test today, okay? We're not worrying about the test. I don't want people stressing about a test without the quiz or anything like that, okay? No, the quiz is just little snapshots. It doesn't mean the questions are the same or anything, okay? So quiz, do it on your own. Not using any material, please and thank you. I need you to have it finished by 3 p.m. today, so then I can get everything marked and finished up and see how you're doing. You can use a calculator, not on your phone though, because your phone does have those apps that will get you the answers and everything like that. How about we just listen to this, guys, and then I can't answer the questions when I'm still trying to do this, so just give me a break here for a second, okay? But with the calculator, I don't want to get decimal answers for anything. You only use a calculator when you're doing something like, if I give you 4 to the power of 6, use a calculator, because that's 4 times 4 times 4, 6 of those, right? So you probably don't have that memorized. I don't even have that memorized. So you can use a calculator for stuff like that. But everything else, I don't think you're going to need it, so you should be good with that, okay? Yes, so I told everybody you need to hand stuff in that you need to hand in. I've already asked her that question. Material as in our notes. Whatever we do is what you get marked on, guys, or what I test you on. I'm not going to teach you something that I don't want to assess you on, most likely. Do you have to do 2 on the worksheet? You have to do everything except for 3, B, and C, or whatever I said there. Okay? Yeah, and I gave you even the formula for you to help you. So A squared plus B squared, C squared, just in case you forgot that. Okay? And number 3, like I said, you don't have to do the B and C. All right, so that being said, okay, so that being said, I'm going to bid you adieu. You guys have time now to do what you ever need to do before you take the quiz. You can do some studying. You can do some of the questions on that worksheet, which is good for practice. You can do some of the questions from another worksheet. Do whatever you need to do, but you have to have that quiz done by 3 o'clock. Okay? So, is everyone okay? Anyone have any final questions or anything for me? Okay. So your goodbye to me today is, you need to tell me where you want to visit in the world. What places do you want to go? And I will say goodbye to you that way, please. So where do you want to go? You might have already been there. You might want to go back again. Disneyland, obviously, I want to go back again. All right, so Iceland, goodbye, Dean. Goodbye, Cassie, Italy. Caitlin B, that would be nice for you to come back, eh? New York, Bryn, goodbye. Scotland, I'd love to see that. Emily, see you later. Greece, Danica, I was there for a bit. It's really beautiful. Belle, yeah, anything over, yeah, that's a lot of places. Angelina, Italy, yes, beautiful. I have friends living there now. Sean, Australia, have a good one. Kaylin, enjoy. Nicaragua, definitely want to see that. Europe, yeah, there's so much to see in there, Caitlin. Alec, or Alexis, sorry, I can't read that. Jamaica, awesome. That's going to be a nice hot place. Costa Rica, we almost went there, Jocelyn. That'd be great. See you later, Belle, you betcha. And Jess, oh, you got quite a few places. Yeah, some are hot, some are just over in Europe. That's awesome. All right, see you later. All right, so you guys are welcome to go. Italy for Holly, perfect. Thank you. Have a good one. I'm left with a couple of stragglers here. You guys are okay? Are you thinking up places? All right. So Dylan, Josh, and Lindsay, you guys have yourself a good day. And I will chat with you later. Okay, bye guys.